is good, YouTube? Krishan checking back in with another video. Let's start today's video off with the recent announcement that Derek Lunsford is officially doing the Pittsburgh Pro, courtesy of Buys and Tries over on Instagram. So Derek basically said on his YouTube channel that he's only done the Mr. Olympia for the past couple of years and really wants to compete more and thinks Pittsburgh is a great idea. So this year, Derek is already the Arnold Classic champion. He's going for the Pittsburgh Pro champion and then going to reclaim that Mr. Olympia title. The only reason I was skeptical about Derek actually doing this show is because this means he now has to peak perfectly 3 times in 1 year. Derek is one of the best in the sport. He can definitely get it done, but any bodybuilder will tell you it's hard to be at your best 3 times in 1 year. And no, I did not have Derek winning the Arnold Classic, but I was one of the few people that was very high on him. I said numerous times Derek is going to come in improved and possibly at his all-time best, but I did have Samson winning. With that being said, my early prediction is of course for the Arnold Classic champion to come in and win the Pittsburgh Pro, but the show should still be pretty exciting. I'm still very high on Derek. He does have a chance of winning this upcoming Mr. Olympia. But again, Samson Dowda, very tough to beat, even though he just beat him. Now next up, we have a recent update from good Vito ahead of the Arnold Classic South America as well as the Pittsburgh Pro. I have not found the competitors list for the Arnold Classic South America yet, which is honestly pretty sad. But I haven't heard of many other big names doing the Arnold Classic Brazil, so I'm expecting Vito to come in and get that Olympia qualification. And after we see him in Brazil, we can kind of gauge how he's going to do at the Pittsburgh Pro. But honestly, based off what I saw last year at the Detriot Pro and based off the updates that I'm seeing here, I'm convinced that good Vito is the real deal. This upcoming Pittsburgh Pro could get very, very interesting between him, Derek, Nick, Martin. Speaking of Nick Walker, the mutant, we have a recent update from him who is looking very impressive ahead of Pittsburgh. And I've heard a few people say it already, but especially with Derek hopping into the Pittsburgh lineup, may have been a smart idea for Nick to do the Detriot Pro. We will talk about the competitors list, William Bonac, in just a little bit. But the Pittsburgh Pro is a very important show for Nick Walker. I've been high on Nick this prep as well. He's very, very big. Pretty sure he's going to bring the conditioning. But if the top 4 is Nick Walker, Good Vito, Derek Lunsford, and Martin Fitzwater, Nick's lack of aesthetics could definitely stand out in their lineup. I'm not going to look into that too much because, again, guys, this is a bodybuilding show. If you want to be pretty, go watch Classic Physique. Nick is big and conditioned, but it's going to be interesting to see how he stacks up against 3 other guys that could possibly be pulling a vacuum. So as I mentioned, we are going to briefly talk about the competitors list for the Detriot Pro. And honestly, a lot of top pros missed out. This competitors list should be a lot more loaded than this. And as you guys know, I'm not the biggest fan of Fuad Abiyad, but he definitely put on one hell of a show last year. At least for the past 3 or 4 years, the Detriot Pro has the best lighting I've seen. But the top 4 guys are going to possibly be our top 4. Bonac, Sasan Harati, Carlos Thomas Jr., James Hollingshead. Also watch out for Ronald Gordon. I've been seeing his updates online and he looks pretty impressive online. Let's hope that it transfers to the stage. But let's talk about William Bonac because I think he is going to be the guy to beat going into this upcoming Detriot Pro. Bonac looks very bubbly, very round in this update. And of course, since working with Boss of Outlaw, I don't think Bonac has missed at all. He's pretty much peaked on point for every single show. He may have came in slightly off to a prejudging, but by the finals, he definitely pulled it together. And Bonac was supposed to retire in 2023, but he's still going strong. I think he's going to come out with the win at Detriot. Now, we don't have updates from many of the guys, but we also have an update from James Hollingshead as well, also coached by Boss of Outlaw. James had a solid showing in the Arnold Classic, but there was a very stacked lineup, and it's a possibility that James could be the guy coming out of this Detriot Pro with a win. James has a good amount of mass. He has great conditioning. I think the reason he doesn't place a little bit higher at this point is because most of the guys placing ahead of him just have better genetics, a little bit more round, a little bit wider in the clavicles, but I hope James brings it to Detriot. Now, next up, we have a recent update from Michal Krizo ahead of the very stacked Pittsburgh Pro lineup. And I think we're all just big fans of Krizo. I hope that Krizo comes into this Pittsburgh lineup and just shakes some things up. But he is coming off a surgery to his shoulder and a decent amount of time off. But honestly, If I just clicked on his Instagram and went through the updates, I would not have known that this guy had an injury at all. But let me know in the comment section below what are your thoughts and expectations for Krizo. Now switching over to Classic Physique, we have an update from Terrence Ruffin, and this is definitely the most impressive update that we have seen so far ahead of Pittsburgh. I think now until the Mr. Olympia, we're pretty much going to argue about, is Terrence going to win the Classic Physique Olympia? Is it going to be Mike Summerfield? Who is it going to be? But Terrence is making his case more and more convincing week after week. If I'm not mistaken, Terrence said he went up about 40 pounds in the offseason to about 212. And looking at his recent updates, I think he has added a decent amount of muscle, and it will be noticeable on stage in Pittsburgh. But let's go ahead and wrap up today's video here with the archive of the day. You guys let me know in the comment section below, who is this legendary bodybuilder? And as always, I hope you guys did indeed enjoy this video. And if you have not done so already, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. The bodybuilding season is slowly starting to heat up, guys. From my personal opinion, once we get to New York, the season is rolling. Almost every single weekend we have a show. Make sure you subscribed. I'm Krishan from Go Fitness, and that's it. I'm out.